Hello and welcome to the latest set of Madaxeman battle reports. This one, as you can see here from this picture, is featuring some pretty chunky big soldiers. This is from Plymouth, PAW competition, Plymouth Association of Wargamers show that happens at the end of January. It's missed a couple of years for COVID. I guess in 2022 it was just a little bit too soon after we came out of one of the interminable numbers of lockdowns. I think the very last one. So end of January is a little bit too soon to plan a show. So we skipped it, or it was skipped. But this year it was back in full force, and an ADLG competition, 4 rounds, 28mm, Dark Age and Feudal, and every army had to be valid before 1250, which in the real world means it was a medium night period. That's what it was all about. That's what it was intended for. And these guys, as you can see, were some of the ones that I ended up painting up to take part in it. These are Fireforge. Some of their trying to think what the name is. I've probably got the packet here anyway. Some sort of Crusader type knights, but with all sorts of interesting livery on it and a few extra bits and pieces. Lovely animated figures. This was the other set of them. I had a mix of other ones. I think I was looking for some Norman knights that I believed I had, but I wasn't able to find them, so I just bought another set, and then I did actually find the Norman knights later, but yeah, these guys were good. But let's have a look at the list I took. Here it was I think it's Taifa Andalusian sort of list, one of these Spanish lists to fit in the Almogavars. I think I'd probably looked at this at the same sort of time as looking at the competition in Alicante, which was only a week or so apart from this. But Alicante, you had to use a strategist, and in the sort of the Taifa Andalusian type lists, using a strategist means you can't use the Almogavars. The Almogavars are pretty cool, especially given I own some in 28mm, which I wanted to use and get on table. So I ended up with this kind of, again, very complicated bitty list. As you can see, there's only sort of 2 of anything the same in any of those 3 commands. And maybe starting down the bottom, a 3 knight command with an included general in the elite one, a bit similar to the command that I'd used in Alicante, and a Berber light horse in this one as well. Give it a little bit more stuff to do once it gets stuck in, probably an earlier iteration. And both these other 2 lists are sort of similar again to some of the lists or the list I used in Alicante, and being a bit of a mix. There's the textbook, 1 crossbow, 1 bow, so that you can choose who shoots at different targets. Light infantry skirmisher, 2 medium knights, so I just wanted to chuck loads of knights in this and give knights a go, and another knight elite, so there's another 3-pack of knights in there. So I've got 2 3-packs of knights to throw at people, 1 light horse cavalry to muck around, 2 heavy spearmen with support, another nice block, and a javelin man just to kind of lurk around and be a filler or plug in things or do a little bit of extra shooting. Then the second command, 2 heavy spearmen support with mediocre. This must be the Taifa list, so saving a few points there to fit in the 2 elite impact Almogavars, the again lovely Fireforge figures. You'll see them later. You've always got to have a light infantry skirmisher to screen people off. 2 Christian heavy spearmen. These were really, I had some figures from North Star, one of their ranges, that were really lovely, and I had also some of those figures that were the 3D prints, which were pretty spectacular as well. So I wanted to get those on table. That's why they were included. Light horse javelin, medium cavalry javelin if I did need to dismount, and again that 2-pack of shooters, the crossbow and the bow as well. That's sort of the list. So bit messy, but really it's 2 lots of 3 knights and some supporting spearmen, and then some stuff to muck around, and hopefully the Almogavars can find someone in rough terrain to cause trouble to. So let's have a look. Yep, there's the knights going in, and the first game I was playing the Don, Mr. McHugh, with some very, very old school camels, as it turned out. I think these were from before some of us were born, I'm sure. I'm sure he'd inherited them from his grandfather, and he'd not painted them up himself, obviously. So you've got this is a Christian Nubian list with a Beja ally. Really, it's all about impetuous camels. You've got 2 effectively 6-packs, 5-pack in the last one, of impetuous medium cavalry. In version 4, cavalry have kind of been a little bit done down. They can't be elite, or they can't be elite and impetuous and the rest of it, except in very exceptional circumstances. So they're scary, but not ridiculously scary. And then the other one is a textbook scary medium foot, medium swordsman, impetuous warband command with some supporting stuff as well. So this is about throwing 6 camels, 5 camels and 6 medium swordsmen at you, and you've got to kind of deal with it, and hoping that the camel's ability to scare horses offsets the fact that knights are just a little bit better. So jumping straight into the game, I obviously didn't take a setup picture of this one, it maybe started too quick. There's a waterway down, that's not my waterway, so that must be Don's, and look at all these camel guys racing up. They've triggered an ambush of my knights that I'd popped behind this hill. You can see my shooters here and the javelin men, spearmen coming in here. A little bit of light horse there to slow them down. So this is already a very, very interesting face-off. The knights are better than the camels-ish, but the camels are wider and more numerous. I've got to get these guys up, but uphill these become a real problem for the camels, but it's still 6 against 3, so pitched immediately into a pretty dangerous face-off. And here's a better angle of it. You can see I've shuffled up the shooters. If I can get the shooters up the hill, and the knights have just sort of crept over the top of it as well. So my theory is get some of the shooting troops uphill as well, do some damage on the camels if I can get past the skirmish screen, shuffle some of the spearmen across if I can, but I don't want to come off that hill. It's neutralizing a lot of camels at the moment, facing them down. So over on the other side, this is where the Christian Nubian army starts to sort of run out. My army is kind of bigger here, I think, possibly, or maybe they're just very concentrated in that central spot. So they've just thrown out a little skirmish screen of a unit of light horse, which my bowmen are ready to have a go at, and suddenly this rather extra filler medium cavalry javelinman has potentially got a gap to run into. Maybe you can work with these guys, and you can just about see the Almogavars there trying to get into the game. So here's the other block. This is 5. This must be the Beja ally. I've got a nice solid line against that. These are spears. Here's some more spears. These are counting as support markers. These are saga figures, so you don't get them confused with Lightfoot when they're acting as that. So there's 4 spearmen and 3 knights, which is more than enough to deal with 5 camels, but there's obviously something else over here. And yeah, let's have a look at this. So the spearmen and the Almogavars are all racing up. I think these are the 3D prints. These are the I wish I could remember the name from North Star. Nice solid guys, and this is the very colourful Arabs that I painted up a while ago. Looks like I've taken a shooting hit or something there from somebody, and you can see I've driven that light cavalryman back quite a long way. He's had to get out of the way with the shooting. He's carrying a marker there already, which is a tricky place. But here the standoff is kind of continuing. The spearmen have sort of shuffled around a bit. My light horse are getting in, but they just don't want to come uphill into these knights, because otherwise that is a big advantage to the knights. The knights are on a base factor of 2. First round they'll be at 3 for charging with impact lances, 4 for uphill. The camels will knock them down to 3 for being disordered. The camels will be on 1, impact 2. They'll still be a factor down, and one of the knights is a general. One's elite. They've got better armor as well, so the camels would still have to win by 3, I think, to knock a hole in those knights. It's not a nice situation for them. Here's the medium foot. This isn't a bad target for them at all. This is a very good target for them, but the knights are already into them and potentially causing them trouble. So if the medium foot come forwards, does that mean the camels have to come forwards? Interesting dilemmas all around here. And there they are, nice dangerous looking guys. Boom! But the knights don't really care about them. They just go straight through, which suddenly gives these guys a dilemma. Do they turn into the flank of the knights and expose themselves to the spears, or do they sit there? So, well, they've decided just to go forwards. They're attacking. This is a pretty squishy thing to run into. My supported spearmen, as I discovered, rear support does give you a +1 if you lose. It makes your units a bit more resilient, but it only stops the furious charge of mounted troops, and these are not mounted troops. My mistake. So that's why first round looks like these guys have all managed to win, even with the rear support and the overlap, and they're doing 2 hits as an absolute minimum on these guys all the way through. That's furious charge doing an extra hit. So my infantry centre's in trouble, but my knights are still steaming on, and the camels are still neutralized there, too scared to come off. So here looks like the camels have had a go at the spearmen. That's not worked really, has it? One of them's come over here at the knights, and suddenly they've kind of split. So 2 of them are already gone out of the 5. My bowmen have come and shot the that light horse off as well. and all of a sudden there's a bit of a gap. These guys are trying to almost get out of the way. They may well have run over an Almodovar there, but this is potentially a good situation with all the bowmen potentially in here. So the knights are starting to cause some chaos. This second group of knights. Let's have a look. Yeah, because there was just one of them over there, and these are the other two from that commander starting to rip into the side of this as my infantry start to fall apart. These guys still daren't go up the hill. My knights may be taking some little shooting casualties, but they don't quite go, and these guys are getting pretty close to them and making a real mess in here for sure. The fighting is still going on. My javelinmen are uphill, they're just about hanging on. Sort of spearmen are uphill, but people are dying, casualties are going through, the bowmen are gone. This is getting pretty brutal here with all these lovely 28mm figures. Those camels don't want to fight anyone at all. They're just trying to race forward and get out of the way, I suspect, of this camel destroying machine that I've got over here. But finally, the camels have cracked. They've decided to have a go. They're impetuous. They're piling in up the hill against the knights with an overlap. Let's see if these guys kind of survive. Who knows? That could be a big problem for them. But this is the sort of decisive combat. One of those little big man flags as there is showing how much has been invested in this by both sides. And again, with my knights going kind of crazy here, it looks like one of the camels has sort of spun off to the side as well, which is fine. But it's just a real nip and tuck here at the moment. So, yeah, looking above it, not too much happening there, but this looks like a bit of heroism from my spearmen, where they look like they were losing, ready to go back into the flank. And here we go. Yep, they've turned into the flank. They're starting to chew up these cavalry here, and they've formed they've sort of had to form a defensive line. One of the knights looks like he's gone, but there's more people coming. They're sort of a bit bogged down, but this is bad news here for the camels, or should be, and you can see them all starting to stack up over there very, very quickly. Over here, this line of spearmen has turned about and is trying to pin these camels now. They've raced over. The Almogavars have rushed forward. They've gone out of line, puts them a bit at risk, but it just stops these guys getting away. They've got to respond now. And my archers are now coming in, shooting up these light foot, aiming for the baggage. And these spearmen and the knight has turned over to join the fight over there. So over here, this must be down alongside the flank. My javelinmen are running away from camels. These guys may have had to fight them. Looks like they've done a bit of unexpected victory there, but they're still sort of messing around right by the riverside. And here the camels have turned around to try and have a go at the Almogavars, as they were forced to because I pinned them. So here we've got some very, very old guys against some very, very new Fireforged plastics, and see what the outcome is on that one. But the outcome here is pretty clear. My knights have won pretty strongly here. Looks like my spearman who did the flanking work has now been taken out by yet more of these hairy warband types, but it is suddenly looking very, very thin. There's not really much of that camel strike force left for the Christian Nubians here. And so yeah, the Almogavars have stood. That's allowed me to get some of these excellent Reconquista 3D printed, although I put metal spears on them, heavy infantry up as well to support, get light infantry in the back. That's really looking to take down the last sort of camel to break the enemy army, as their armies got sort of broken up and unable really to deal too much with these spearmen. Over here, bits and pieces are still coming through. There's the odd camel, the odd light horse shooters are coming in, but the knights are still intact here. One down, but still doing quite a lot of damage. And there he goes, he's gone. That camel's there. This one's in trouble as well. He can't really get away from the spearmen, the light horse, the Almogavars. They're all very much surrounding him and starting to take him down. And here, I think you may remember these spearmen from crushing the camels on the right. They've marched all the way across the centre, and they're now starting to intimidate the rest of the army on that. And this is starting to be a big old camel park in the dead pile over there. And with nothing really left to kill in front of them, my knights have managed to turn around and charge downhill, hit the remaining camels in the back. They're pretty much mopping up all of the cavalry here in this particular army. That's another one gone. The Almogavars have slid across and got him, along with the light infantry in support. As you can see, actually, this is two Saga base figures on a sort of spacer base with a little magnet in it that I've got from war bases. They do these for 2p inserts. That's people on 2p, so I can recycle the same figures for Saga and for Art de la Guerre. But that's another camel down, and Yep, there's another camel down. There was another one fighting there. Lots of overlaps, lots of people behind. Another big red marker. It looks like it's very, very tricky time. And yep, that's it. That's the game over, with a lot of to and froing with knights and camels. But it is in the end a victory for the knights.